Okay. Oh, it's live stream now. Great. Perfect. Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is Karen Newman. This is a Saturday Human Colony Hucolo webinar. It is Saturday, the 14th of May, 2022. And today I'm your special guest. I'm going to be doing, I sound so
Welcome,
funny.
Karen.
I'm going to be the special guest. We're going to continue our talk that we started a couple weeks ago on tarot, answering all your questions about how to do readings, interpretations, layouts, any questions that you would have. I'm really going to take your lead. We had a very nice discussion last time. We were talking about interpretation and trusting your intuition, and I talked about how I do readings, and we'll continue in that conversation. So, did I give you a reading live on air, Angie, or not?
Yes.
I
Yes.
did.
Yes.
So please tell everyone what happened.
And so what happened is I went to my primary doctor for my follow-up
Tell them
appointment.
about what I said. Well, go ahead. And basically tell them that it was right.
So the end result is she said, I don't see you going back this school year. And then when I went to my primary and he talked, he was like, Angie, I don't recommend you going back this year. And I'm like, okay. So this school year, like I'll go back in the fall in September. But
And they're going to give her the time to recover, and her job is safe. And yay.
my job is safe, yes, because that was a big part of my worry and concern is being off this long and still having that job. But they definitely were very, don't Angie, wipe that right out of your mind. Your job is safe.
Oh, that is music to my ears, I'm sure to your ears. And we're happy for you. So I'm glad you're on, and you look so much better. You sound better already. So just keep recovering. And yeah, I'm so glad for you.
Thank you so much. It's a long haul. This was no easy illness for me.
So it came on really fast too.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So why don't you start with the announcements, and we'll go to blessings, and then we'll get to this class, this discussion.
Yes, thank you very much. We have our next class scheduled. It is Galactic Energy Healing, the teacher course. It's going to be July 23rd, 2022. It's going to be a 5-hour class one day. We're going to try and get it into one day so that we're not using 2 days. 5-hour class. The cost is $150. It's 1:30 to 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. So if you are interested in this class, please email classes@hucolo.org. Again, this is the Galactic Energy Healing Teacher Course.
Okay. And is there, and also to just coming up, well, I can talk about the schedule at the end, or we can talk about it next week, actually, probably is the better.
Yes, that would be better. Yeah.
Okay.
So Wendy, why don't you go ahead and do your blessing, and then I'll do my blessing after you.
Okay, sounds wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Atahuya hatahira to unyu ujijua mahakairiti atu unyuru ahira nara aka atahuhuyenya aro enyara haria tu anakiara rara oro ikiara hi nara ho inyaraka apahoya nara te tehia nara to Ishtiana nakahia na mahone ihia no na hapaka ita hiena tato atiana rakahitata. Blessings in Adonai. The message is for you to remember to sing from your soul, sing from your heart, bring in the energies of the earth as the white magic is coming up now and Mother Gaia is raising her light. There will be changes in the earth as it comes forward. You're feeling some of these new energies now, Sleep when you must, rest when you must. Be in your mother's arms. She loves you. She sings you her lullaby. Listen for her sounds. You are her beloved. You are her light. Many blessings to you, my beloved light workers, my children. The Divine Mother speaks. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Achu chikan urikia, untura siki, mira kutukora acha. Naro ukahare tiki, miharu uchi shandika, mantukua ata idinina kukura, naru kitishia, nohura miara kano ukuchichi, miki ahro no kuchicha. Nahar u na niata kurataka, mitura niata kano uachicha, ti akana no ua. Blessings. Okay, we are going to continue with the tarot training as soon as Karen comes back online. Wendy, if you could, while we're waiting, what are the cards that you use?
I use the old school one is one of the decks that I use, the Wainwright. And then another one that I use is Celtic. It's just called Celtic something. I actually don't have my cards with me because I'm traveling right now, but it's Celtic something or another, which is a deck based on, I always say it wrong, Celtic.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? I also have cards that are oracle cards. So I have a deck of archangels. I have a deck of mermaids. I have a deck of elementals. I have a deck of dragons. I have a deck of what else do I have? Something. I don't know, there's something. But what's interesting is I like to do a lot of times when I'm working with tarot, I like to do the 3-card pool, past, present, and future. And then sometimes I'll just feel called, I'll see my decks and then I'll look at them and I'll feel called to reach for a particular deck. And then I'll shuffle through them. And cards like to bounce out for me. People have said to me, are you sure you know how to shuffle? Because they bounce out.
Right.
And so when that happens, it's actually my angelic team, my guide team, helping me push a card out that's this really needs to be into your awareness.
Right.
And so I always take them that they just are working with me and they're around me and have access to, how I'm handling the cards, and that that energy is pushing it out so that it will jump out and that message will be for me. I've done the same for other people when I pull cards, where I'll just go ahead and, shuffle the deck and if they're looking for, a reading, I'll usually just do the 3 cards. Sometimes I'll do 5. Sometimes I'll put more intent with it. But a lot of times I try to, look at, see, not just what the message is, but what are the colors on the card. And then just like Karen, looking for what intuitively am I hearing in my mind, because that tends to be one of my stronger connections, is that I'll telepathically pull up information. And so spirit is feeding me information into my mind, and then I will repeat or give that information. And that works when I do my channel messages after light language too. I just hear what's coming in my mind and then I repeat it. And then sometimes when I'm really in the flow, it just comes out. So when I'm doing light language, it just kind of hops out of my mouth.
Right.
And afterwards, I get it downloaded as a zip file. So it's like a large packet. And so it just takes me a moment. It used to take me more breaths. It'd be sometimes 45 seconds to a minute before the translation comes. Now it's almost immediate. It's just take a breath and then boom, it just moves into my system and comes out. But it's very interesting how everybody has, the information when they're looking at the cards come up, and how, how it reads. So not just taking it, piece by piece and saying, oh, here's this card, it says this, here's the translation of what the standard meaning is. So, and I see that Karen's back, so welcome back.
So what were you, what was the question you asked, Wendy?
Well, I had asked what decks Wendy used. Like what are the ones that she was. So that's, and so we finished with the prayer, and then
Sorry about that.
yeah, that's okay. That's all right. I'm glad I was right there so that I could do it, but I am gonna have to leave soon. So that was
No, it's okay. I'm on a hot spot, so we should be fine.
okay. All right. Okay.
So yeah, okay. Yeah, we were lucky last week.
Yes.
We didn't have any problems. Okay, so have a fantastic week. Did you guys do the blessings when I was gone?
We did. Yep. Yep, we did.
Okay, great. Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you. Have a fantastic. All right.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. So,
Bye, Angie.
other than the stress, I'm trying to.
Hello,
just trying to get
Lori.
back. Bye. Oh, who's here?
I'm here.
Okay, great. So I just wanted to pick it up where we were. Angie we had talked about what.
Karen, you're skipping really bad, honey. Like you're skipping.
Annie's question would be if she had a question, and she had. Okay, you know what? Give me a moment.
Yes,
Let me just see something. Hold
you're
on a second.
skipping.
One
You're
moment.
Okay.
Well, Safira, I guess you should have a conversation with whoever else is here. Keep it going until Karen comes back.
All right. Are we still? Wait a minute. Let me see. I guess we're still live. Yeah. Maybe we yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me now? I should be back. Everything should be back.
You're back.
main-
Yeah.
Okay, sorry everyone, the main electricity came back, so we should be good for at least an hour.
Okay.
Okay,
It's
so,
okay.
so here, let's just so that because I'm how do you call it? I'm a little rattled by my electric going on and off.
Yeah,
Can
I'm
you
sorry.
you have any questions? No, do you have any questions for me?
I get intimidated by large spreads, and I
Well, don't do
I
them.
mean, I'm not asking you to maybe do one now, but Wendy was talking about the 3-card spread, which I usually do myself,
Mhm.
like present moment. But for me, I interpret it as what's happening at the present moment, so advice that's given, and then the future, like how if you follow, like that, that's how I kind of do it.
Yeah.
So we were talking about that. So I think the 3-card spread is pretty common, but I don't know how to go past that.
Well, I talked about the Celtic cross, and I talked about that, I do a 11 cards, and other people just do 10, but I use I use a signifier card because I think the signifier is just as important as the cards themselves, because the signifier talks about the person, their state of mind. If you're doing readings for yourself, it's different if you're doing readings for other people.
Right.
When you're doing readings for other people, you have to read the person as well as read the cards about their situation.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is that there are, a reading I would give to an 18-year-old girl asking about her first love is very different than a reading I would give to a 50-year-old woman who's getting a divorce from her husband or asking about
Right.
will she ever meet anybody? Because there are certain things that are implied when you are young versus when you're older. When you're 18, you meet people every other day. You work in fast food restaurants, and you do all kinds of things that you're going out, you're doing things. So you're meeting people every day. You're in school. I mean, there's just available boys and men or girls, whatever your preference is, but they're just everywhere. You can't throw a rock and not hit somebody. So the likelihood of when a girl says, will I ever meet someone? Well, the likelihood is pretty high that she definitely will, unless she, totally goes into seclusion. But you talk about someone who's older, the likelihood is less. Not always. There's certain people who are serial marriers. You've got people that are married 4 or 5 times, and they, every time you turn around, they're getting married again. But you've got other people who their significant relationships end and they never meet anybody else. And what is the difference? The difference is the pool of available people. Do they go out? Do they interact with other people? I mean, a lot of women or men, they don't do anything. So the likelihood they're just going to stumble into somebody is lower than if they're out and they're, it doesn't mean you have to be at bars, but you have to be interacting. So understanding the person you're reading can very much color the way you read them. And the signifier usually will talk about their mental state in the moment,
Karen, what's the signifier card? I don't know what that is. I don't know.
Sometimes they call it, I've seen it referred to as the card that's called the sitter. That's the person that is getting the reading.
Okay, which card in the deck is that then? When you do it,
whatever the first card you pull is.
The first. Okay, thank you.
Look, if you're sitting in front of me, I don't need to go look for a woman in the deck. Though they do that in the Lenormand a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But there's a woman in front of you. It's a man. You don't need to. And I think maybe that's uniquely me that I do that, but I always want to know. And because the cards honor what I am how I'm using them, that's what I get. So the first card, I'll here's my cards. I'm just pulling through.
Okay.
And for instance, I have this random person in front of me. I pull this card. Well, this card is the 7 of Swords. This is a mental card, but it also means futility. Do you see, if you take the middle sword, all the other swords are kind of attacking that sword. That means that this sword is not getting anywhere. So, it's turned against itself, but it's also because it's a sword card. It's an air sign. It's mental. This is meaning in the mind. That means that the person feels frustrated. They feel like whatever they do, it doesn't work. But this is also, remember, the minor arcana, the cards that are swords, fire, wands, and cups are all in the moment, or in the, can be for a month, it could be for a year, but they're not the permanent, they're not major arcana, they're not archetype cards. But this is what's going on with this person. This is a person who feels like, what's the point? Like it's futile, whatever they're trying to do. And it can be anything. So depending on what their question is, then you would know what they're feeling frustrated about. So you already know. This also might have to do with, and you'll get to know when you talk to the person, is that their attitude. Because there's a lot of people who are glass half empty. The glass is spilled over and, smashed around and water everywhere. But is that their personality? And that you can usually glean from the way they talk back to you, So this gives you a starting point as to what is this person's state of mind in this situation, not in general about their life, but in this situation, what does this person feel, think, or have the experience of? It could be very much that they've tried everything and nothing is working. So that's how I would interpret it that way. And so then, for instance, if the next card would be the next card is the question, right? So I don't know, ask any random question. We're doing a theoretical person, not really you or anybody else. Ask a theoretical question.
like I would be doing a reading kind of thing.
Or like
That
you were
kind of
having a reading, what would your question be?
Oh,
Just like,
my-
just give me
my
a,
question
but
would
not a
be-
real.
no,
Yeah.
oh, well, can I make it real?
No, because we're doing it from the standpoint of the the feudal situation.
Yeah. I can't seem to get ahead of my job.
Okay, that's a
Would that-
statement.
Would that not fit? No, okay.
That's my question. But that's
How
also
about-
true.
how
Wait,
about what's my next
wait.
step?
Let me say this. I can't get ahead of my job. That's the futility. But that also, that people do that all the time. Tell me about love. But if you say, I can't get ahead of my job, well, okay, that's probably true. Is it true because you believe it's true? Is it true because that's your self-talk and you're in this sort of, or you're in a defeatist mentality of nothing's ever going right for me, you know? So that's what you have to quickly be able to ascertain. But the person says nothing is going right in my job, and I will usually say, well, that would make things futile. But I would also,
Right.
I would ask, so what is your question? Is your question, do you want to leave your job? Is your question, will you finally get ahead? What do you need to get ahead? What is your question? know.
Okay, that's good. That's good to
Yeah.
define that. What was your
See, the
idea,
thing is
Wendy?
that you need to define the question. I even say in my bio that
Yeah.
there's always a question. We just have to
Yeah.
find it. Because just like in channeling, the better the question, the
Right.
more in depth, the more, the better the answer. It's always true. And then you've got all these, you get these, people call, I don't know why I'm calling. And I think, well, you dialed the number. You're paying $7.99 a minute or whatever they're paying, And I'm like, well, so what is it you want to know? I don't know. Just tell me anything. So you got to dial in the question.
Is everybody okay? Am I being considered for a promotion? Is that a question? A viable
That's a
question?
good question. Am I being considered for a question? So here's the futility person, right? So then you've got this person who's futility.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I would be asking my guides right now is, have they been trying to get a promotion? They just don't feel like they would, or do they not believe in themselves enough?
Mm-hmm.
These are the questions that I would be asking. And by the time that they ask the question and I started putting out the cards, sometimes as soon as they ask the question, my guides start talking. And sometimes before they even open their mouths, my guides start talking, but it's generally right at the same time. So here's the thing. So let's do a reading. So here we go. And so even though they asked a question, the cards will also give you the question. So here's this theoretical person. I'm saying to my guys, this theoretical person. I never get out of my job. Okay, so here's the question. 1 second. I like making noises. People are like, what? And usually I have no idea. I just do it on purpose, just to feel the airspace of the thing. Okay. All right. So the question is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, they have a lot of 7s in there. Well, they have at least 2. Maybe they have more here. They have.
So
There's
since
sevens,
7 is completion, I would think maybe this
No,
time.
9. No.
Oh.
9 is the completion.
Oh,
7 is
okay.
futility.
Sorry. In the Bible, I'm thinking of the Bible where 7's the fulfillment. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, in the tarot, usually like the 5 meaning change, the 7,
Right.
they're not always great of cards.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
this 7 means striving and striving and striving, working hard, getting stronger, but not quite yet. You're actually in the motion of trying.
Mm-hmm.
You're actually trying in the moment. So this person is really, really now wanting this promotion, seeking a promotion, putting the effort towards it. So if they had if it comes up for it's promotion time, this person would be showing in their work, like I'm really working hard. See how hard I'm working? Do you see that I'm really good at my job? They're putting forth the effort. That's not a bad thing. They're putting forth the effort. This now, what it talks about, what is crossing it? What is influencing it? They probably have something going on. So this shows this is the Empress. But if you notice, she's kind of cupping her pregnant belly. She's so something is influencing this. Either they want to move into something new, they want to give birth to something new, or they actually have a wife at home who's pregnant. If it's a man, or it could be a woman. They have some kind of stake in the game that makes them want this promotion. And then here it talks about financial gain being the desire of this. And of course, when you want a promotion, why do you want the promotion? A lot of times it's for more money or prestige, but this is for the financial gain. So I would say this person's frustrated because there's a pressure now. The stakes are higher for them. It is important that they get this promotion. They really need it. They're really working for it. Now, what I have above them as being the overreaching thing here is this card is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I know what it means, but it's the 8 of Swords. And this means interference. Something is interfering. Either it's a coworker that's interfering, it's they don't get along well with their boss. Something is interfering. And it's usually, even though this is a mental card, it's usually someone interfering with you or a situation interfering with you. Now, let me say something. This person has a futility mindset. So maybe that's what's interfering. This can be like a fear of success or not believing in themselves, enough. It's the kind of thing of like, I want this promotion and they may well deserve it, but I'm never going to get it. Or I never get the promotion. That kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Now, underscoring all of this is their belief about what is they're going to have when they get what they want. Well, they're going to have happiness overflowing. Everything will be great. This will be the answer to all of their questions and all of their needs and wants. So that's what's driving them. That's the basis of what's driving them, as well as the stakes. Was it raining? It's raining outside. This is on the stakes of what's necessary. What do they need? Why do they need it? I would say they have a pregnant wife at home or something. Maybe they want to start a side business. Maybe they have something that has come into their life that they have to take care of. That's could be that they've taken on more financial responsibility. Now, in their past, what's interesting is you have the Queen of Pentacles. In the past, they were more in charge of their life. The Queen is in charge of her stuff. She is very strong and very confident and competent. She's in the past, however. So they were at a stage before where they're maybe used to accomplishment, but now they're not getting the accomplishment that they'd had in the past. So you'd have to ask them, you'd have to say something to the fact, I see that you, and because even though we're assuming this is a man that we're talking about for just the sake of this reading. Even though this is a female, it's still referring to him in an aspect of his personality. I see that you're very strong and that you're very accomplished, or you had been. What's happened? And they can maybe shed light on to you why they're in this futility mindset. Is this a temporary thing? Is it fear-based? I mean, what is the interference now? Did they have something significant happen in their life where they lost their confidence? Did they go through a buyout? Which, buyouts for people, especially, are very stressful because you don't know if you have a job. You see your whole company kind of get dismantled in front of you. It's a very vulnerable time, and especially for people who really identify with their job, like who, and so if you talk about someone who's like, the 30s to the 50s, they really are just deep in their
Mhm.
jobs. They're really
Mhm.
identifying, and a lot, mostly men, but now more and more women. I am that company. That is my lifeblood, So what is the why? Why did he go from strong, confident, competent, accomplished to
Mhm.
having things interfere and feeling like everything's futile?
Yeah.
Something happened. So that's
Mhm.
when you say, what happened? It's because it's not telling you here. And then you can sit and maybe intuit what happened. But
Mhm.
the way that I would say was what I see here is that you went through some kind of huge disappointment or challenge that has made you feel like what you want may not be reachable. What happened?
What I keep thinking is his wife had a miscarriage because of the pregnant woman. I know it's not, I know that was not the card.
And that's
but
not anywhere here. There's
But I
no,
mean, the pregnant, could the pregnant priestess be his wife who had a miscarriage maybe? That's blocking him? No?
no, I think that she's the driving force of why he wants to do better. I think
Yeah,
that the baby's on the way, not the baby that died. I
so
wouldn't
they
say
can't
that.
have double meanings, like they
They
can't
can,
serve.
but I wouldn't necessarily, I wouldn't pull that from this.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
because this is about what is the challenge that
Right,
he's
no,
having. Why are the stakes high for him? Why does he
right,
need to accomplish this so much? Because something new is coming in the
right.
world.
No, yeah, I got that. I just couldn't help thinking about something that happened, so it's okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
And so
Thank you.
then for his future,
Mhm.
you have the Knight of Pentacles, which means he does find his strength. He's looking
Uh-huh.
for his strength now to drive him forward. It shows him having the motive. This is like being motivated, being strong, and also being back in control. So he's trying to go from feeling like nothing's working to being in control.
Wow,
Now,
okay.
what it on this side it shows him actually getting a promotion, getting something financial, because
Wow.
this is a windfall and gain. But it shows him doing it somewhere else, and I'll show you why. So it shows the card is the answer is the card at the bottom. It's that number. What is the card? 1, 2, 3, 4. One, like the number 7 card that's to the right. That's the one that's the answer, the outcome. The answer shows this card, which is the priestess. But I always take this card to mean something that is hidden, because she's dropping the veil. And basically, probably now as I go further, because I'm interpreting as I go, as opposed to looking at it and telling, what I would say is he's finding out that this company is not for him, for whatever reason, because it shows him, like, just like you had this card of like being drained and being not at your best. So I can't get a promotion in my job. Why? He's working hard for it. He really wants it. He really needs it. He's really trying. He thinks, he knows it's going to be the answer to his questions, but he feels like something's blocking him. Well, it's going to turn it. What it turns out is this company is just not really the place for him, where he can achieve. And it actually shows here the Chariot, which means to me leaving. Now, it may be the company, but it may be that job within the same company, because I don't know. But then it shows him walking into wealth. So it's when he has this realization of, sometimes you're spinning your wheels somewhere. Maybe there's nowhere to promote him to. Maybe, he is not within the team and the structure. Maybe he is not what their ideal person, or he just hasn't caught the right person's eye. His work may not be appreciated for whatever reason, but this is what is unknown to him at this moment. And when he realizes that he's really like spinning his wheels, which would add to the frustration, he leaves. I don't say quit your job before you have another job, but somehow he goes to something that's better, because he does get what he wants.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that would be the interpretation of that.
Maybe somebody's listening who that applies to, because that was like
I hope
amazing.
so, yeah. I
Oh,
hope
well,
so.
so what kind of spread was that? Was that the Celtic?
This is still the Celtic cross spread. That's the one I generally do.
Okay.
When it comes to like yes, no stuff and straight yes, no, I'll
Yeah.
use pendulum, and then I'll also just pull like maybe 1 card, 2 cards, I'll see, maybe 3. Just depends.
Mhm.
It just depends how I feel. If the answer is clear, like who was that asked me how many cards do you pull and it's enough? I think Wendy asked me that question. I said I just keep pulling cards until I get the answer.
Mhm.
I don't think that there has to be a hard fast rule. What I
Mhm.
don't like as a psychic and as someone who does readings is someone who asks the same question day after day after day,
Right.
hoping for
Right.
an outcome. And I kind of double down on my reading
Yeah.
and say, I'm not changing my reading.
Right.
I'll read it again, but I will give them pretty much verbatim the same reading. And somehow, for some reason, I can, even if I have talked to that person, I will remember the reading and give it to them back. Because spirit doesn't like it.
Mhm.
I don't think it's like sometimes if you're using the pendulum and you ask the question, it just won't move anymore. It'll just feel like, screw you. I've answered this question 100 times.
Yeah.
And that gets down into like, why are you unwilling to accept an answer? What is it within you that you're wanting? You know, like
Mhm.
I have this guy who I read for literally every day, and he wants an
Wow.
update on his situation every day. He's a
Wow.
lovely person, but the updates he's wanting are more about him,
Mhm.
his psychology. And, to be honest, usually, I mean, things can turn on a dime, things can really change in 24 hours, as we know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
most of the time, they don't. Not so much. It's like if
Mhm.
someone says to you, are you hungry? You're like, no. And 5 minutes later, are you hungry? No. Are you hungry? No. Are you hungry? No. What about now? What about now? And that's the kind of readings that I get with him. And I literally
Wow.
talk to him every day. And
Wow.
I mean, I'm happy to talk to him. I love talking to him because he's funny. But at the same time, I just have to think, well, what is the need there? So sometimes in a reading, you can address what's the drive behind the question as opposed to question itself. Because sometimes, and also too, people will bargain. When you talk to, because I talk a lot about relationships, with people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes if the relationship is not what they want, well, their partner's not talking to them or the person they like. So they'll try to bargain with you to sort of, and it's, I mean, it's in some ways you're like the surrogate
Mhm.
for them.
Yeah.
Or they'll get mad at you because they're not getting what they want from their partner.
Right.
You just
Right.
have to know.
Mhm.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any questions? That's a good question. Did you have any more questions about it, or what question would you have about that? Let me just say this. If you're reading for yourself, I don't think big spreads are necessary. I think because most of the questions you have, what it is you're wanting. So you can ask a yes, no question, but if you really, I think it would be hard to do a big spread and have all the interpretations of every card and looking at it as it, I mean, I'm sure people out there that can do it, but I was just saying to like get analytical about a 15 card spread, 20 card spread, or an entire tableau, would be, I think, maybe overkill.
Thank you. I do have another how-to question.
Okay.
So you did reading for me, where you had that 7 of cups, right, that you just showed, and that I was drained.
The 7 of cups, yeah.
Right, and that it's time to kind of move on. How would I ask where? Because I have no idea where. Is there a reading for, I'm not asking you to do it. I'm just saying, how would I do a spread which could show me, or do the tarot not?
Well, I would do it because it's, when you're talking about, this is an ethics thing for psychic. When you're
Okay.
talking about a major life change for someone, like moving is no small, I mean, if you're, okay, you're moving across town, right? Okay, no big deal. But you're talking about doing like a big move that is financially, big, or someone says, what stock should I invest in? I mean, a lot of times you can't answer the question directly for someone because I can't in good conscience tell you to do something that will be financially
Mhm.
a
Right.
significant thing for you. But what I would want to do then is ask you about and help you find what it would be, but then look and see what would be the best. So for instance, like if you think of like 4 places that you want to go, do you have 4 places that you've thought about that are exciting for you, that jump out for you, that would be realistic for you to go to, or would be, some place that you would go?
No.
One of them would be staying. So you have no idea. You have no
No,
idea.
the options don't inspire me. So, but I didn't really want to like talk about like get you
No,
to
but
do.
I'm just, okay,
but-
but I'm just for an example. So what I would do is through Tarot, I don't know that I would find it. What I would do is I'd probably do a pendulum reading, and I would do a circle and I'd put the options.
Right. Yeah.
You can start with northwest, east, south,
Mm.
and then if it starts to say, well, let's do that. Wait, I mean, it's not Tarot, but let's see.
The thing is, my pendle has not been working for me lately. I just don't get anything. I don't know.
Okay, all right. Well, you could do it with Tarot. Because every card, I would do with the aces, because aces are new beginnings. So let's do it if we're doing a pendulum. So, I mean,
Okay.
without a pendulum, but you could use a
Okay.
pendulum in conjunction.
Yeah.
So pull out my aces. Let me see.
Oh, see, this is a great idea. Because I'm sure I'm not the only one who has that, question about how to get that answer alone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, so just the way that I mean, I don't know that this is like a thing, but this is how I
Yeah.
would do it.
Okay.
Because every directions, north, south, east, or west, or you could say the center would be staying right where you are. If you look at the correspondences, this is about a new beginning, right? So you would always choose the ace.
Got to shoot my son a message while you're doing that.
Ace or the 1 card.
Okay, 1 second.
Wendy fell out and now she's back. Okay. So I'm pulling the ace of swords. I mean, the ace. Where's my other ace? So looking for the ace of swords. Where are you? Oh, there. Okay.
Great. Okay.
Oh, okay. Let me see. And just because right now, I'm shutting my door because there's some noise going.
Okay.
And just because right now I'm not exactly sure which thing corresponds to which direction, I'm just going to choose.
Okay.
So this is where it's not right, but it's right because you decide that that's what it is. So
Okay.
I'm going to put the ace of swords in the north position. I'm going to put the pentacles in the west position, and the swords in the east, and the cups in the south. So I would use.
Cool.
So you could do it 2 ways. You could do a pendulum. So let me just ask, like, you can do a pendulum. You can say which direction does she want to go, and we'll just see which one you go to. But still choosing. Choose one, please. the most, let's say, what is the best place for her to go? So it's pointing to the west, to go west.
Mhm.
That's the most to go west.
The only places I could go where anybody is that I know is the West. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, that would be the optimum thing to go. The other way that I would do that is we could do like this. You could put it in the deck like this. Let me
Okay.
see the deck.
You put that particular
fours-
card.
I put all the cards back in there.
Oh, you did. Okay. Mhm. Okay.
And so since there's 4 directions, this is what I would do. Since there's 4 directions, I would shuffle the cards well. I'm gonna have to get new cards because these cards are now to where they don't really bend anymore and they're
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
old, you know?
Yeah.
But, so I would take the deck, I would divide it. Let me split it a couple times, just. Okay. would
Since I
take the
can't
deck,
see-
I'd divide it to 4 piles.
Okay.
This is how I would,
Okay.
this is what I would do. Because
I'm
the thing
taking
is, everything you do is right. Right?
Oh,
You just have to
yeah.
listen to what your guidance tells you to do. Because ultimately it's your subconscious driving you. And your subconscious always knows the
Okay.
answer. My subconscious knows where every card is, right? And we already know what was assigned to each one, if I can remember.
Okay.
Then I would say to the person, wait a minute, let me do 4 decks. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've got 4 decks in a row. Tell me which number you want, 1, 2, 3, or 4.
I can't see them. So the
You can't see
vertical,
them,
right?
they're face down anyway.
They're
I want to know
vertical.
which number you want, 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Three.
3? Okay.
Yes. 3 is always my number. So I'll pick 3.
And I would look to see which ace is in here, if there is one. And if there
Interesting.
isn't one, and if there isn't an ace, Ace of Cups. So this was the
Oh.
South.
Oh, interesting.
Remember that. So this is the South. So this is a different answer. Give me one other pick. Give me one other.
4.
1, 2,
4.
or 4. Okay.
4. So could it be Southwest? Or
Well,
what's that? Which one was that?
all 3 are here. Now it's playing.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, so it would be.
Wow.
It would be west. It would be southwest or northwest.
Oh dear. So in other words, back at square one.
Well, southwest or northwest, but it's still west. So southwest would be what? To you, Arizona?
Yeah.
And northwest would be,
Oh, you meant Northwest. I thought you said or North. Northwest would be Washington State or where my sister is in California.
southwest or
Cal-
northwest. Those are the 2 places.
Southwestern. Okay,
This
let me
one
write
said
that
west, but more specifically it was southwest and northwest.
down. Interesting, isn't it? Okay.
Because you can't go west-south. South,
true.
you know what I mean?
Right. So Southwest or Northwest. Okay. So that would be, yeah, I don't, is Sacramento, California considered Northwest or West? I don't know. Maybe Northwest.
That would be sort of southwest, wouldn't it?
Northwest, Sacramento.
Well, Northwest to me would be like San Francisco. I think southwest would still be.
Because
Yeah.
Sacramento's north of San Francisco. It's
Sacramento?
yeah, California.
No.
It's north.
No,
Yeah. No?
no.
Okay, never
Sacramento
mind.
is part of LA.
Huh? No. So
Sacramento
I'm
is
talking
part of LA.
no, I'm talking about Sacramento, California. You might
I
be
know.
thinking, oh, there might be 2
Oh, I'm thinking
Sacramentos.
Santa Monica. Sorry.
That's
Sorry.
okay. That's okay.
Sorry. You're right. So yeah, that would be Northwest.
Okay.
I
So
would say
if-
like everything like above San Francisco up to, Washington, and then everything below, like sort of LA is the midpoint, though it's a little
Okay.
southern going down. But
right.
that could also be Arizona. It could be
Yeah.
that kind of area, but definitely west. But I would just say this to you, Saphira, if you're not feeling the drive to go, then definitely don't go until you feel it. I mean, there's no rush.
Well, my daughter's having a baby in September. She lives in
Oh.
Arizona. She needs some help. I don't want to move to Arizona. I don't want to go back to Arizona, let's put it that way. But I need a car, you know, so I probably should drive back like I did drive here. So that's why it's not a rush. There's a few months, but whether I should just visit or move, you know, all those decisions are part of that. And yeah, I'm not inspired about either one particularly for several reasons, not related directly to my daughter, but to her situation around her.
Yeah.
But and plus the money to be there. The rents have gone up exponentially
Let's
in the
stay
last.
on the subject of the tarot class. Because we
Yeah,
could get
I'm just explaining why those ideas are probably practical but not inspiring.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
I
just leave it at
understand.
that.
I understand. So well, then maybe look at it as a temporary thing. Like maybe there's a need for you to go to help, but there's not a need for you to stay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And I would put
that's
it like
my
that. You're
right.
not-
That's my yes. Thank you. That's my big question I have for myself. Yeah, so that's good. That's amazing that the cards came out like that. Southwest, Northwest, because those are really the only two choices I have as far as knowing anybody, unless I go somewhere where I don't know anybody. Yeah,
Well, that's
that's
the choice.
that's amazing,
awesome.
right? Yeah.
So
That's
did you have any other questions, or did Goldner, did you have any questions? Hello? She's the one that wanted this.
Yes, I have always questions on
Okay,
tarot.
let's have some questions. Then. Go ahead.
My
Thank you,
question is
Sophie.
very general. I don't want to go to
No,
into
general's
too-
perfect. Yeah.
Yes. So my question is, for example, if you are a channeler, or you are also good in psychology, and when you read cards for someone, can you also use this other
Absolutely.
information,
Yeah.
or it should be purely conveyed from the cards? Do you
No.
use that other knowledge that you have, like you
Always.
look at the person and you already know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What it is about. And
The thing is that there's two types of people, but ultimately, if someone is coming to you with a question, they want a good answer.
yeah.
You know, they want to know the answer to the question and how you get there. This is where
Mhm.
I've seen like people be critical of psychics, and they'll say, oh, it's a cold reading. And they looked at that person, because that's what I talked about, like looking at the person,
Mhm.
knowing who they are, why they're asking. I think that that makes you more complete to truly understand who's in front of you and what they're needing, what they're wanting, and then being able to give them an answer that is accurate, you
Yeah.
know, but also a full answer. Because sometimes the cards don't always tell you why, or or they'll just say this is what's happening, or they'll give you the why, but not anything around it. And you have to fill in all of that stuff. And if you understand, psychological things about situations, or it all adds to it. It just makes you a more complete person. And the thing is, spirit uses what you just in channeling, when you channel stuff, most people, unless they would say be a physicist, are not channeling mathematical equations, because it's not within your mental library. So you wouldn't be able to talk about, these sort of high level physics kind of equations, because it's not something that you know. But if you do know psychology and you have an understanding of it, and you can present it in a very non-biased way,
It's even enriching.
I would say you can't help but use it. Now, I had a woman one time, and she said, and I phrase things very specifically when I give a reading. Like I'll say, my guides are saying what I'm intuiting is, because if I say I think, which to me is the same thing, they're like, we don't care what you think. We want to know what you're getting. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of it has to do with how you phrase it, how you say it. And is it relevant? Is it relevant to the person, to their situation in the moment, the question that they're asking? I mean, the biggest thing is that you answer the question.
Yeah.
And give them some depth, because inevitably someone will ask you a question and then they'll follow it with, what do I do? What should I do? And
So if two different people ask the same questions, the answers will be different, of course, right?
of course,
It's never the
because
same.
I mean, their future, two people's futures are very
Exactly.
different.
Even
give
if
me
the
an
card is
example.
the same. Mhm.
Huh?
Even if the card is the same for both.
Yeah. I mean, the outcome might be the
Yeah.
same. The outcome might be yes or no, but maybe
Yes.
the reasons behind it. Or it could be, like if someone calls me and they have like 2 minutes to talk, I'm just straight to the answer. I don't try to give anything extra there because there's no time. So my biggest goal is to answer the person's question in the fullest way that I can in the time that I have allotted, so that they are satisfied, they get what they need, and then, they're able to go on with their life. But yeah, the answers will be, I mean, they might be the same. I guess
Depending on-
like at the
okay.
job question, it's either yes or no.
Mhm.
Yeah, yes or no. I
Okay.
mean, the answer can be the same, but very different.
Okay. The next question is how there are cards which I can never memorize and I always have to look up. How is it? Is there a trick that I can memorize the cards easier? Or is it just the feeling that you get when you look at the card?
No, I know what my cards mean. I think
Of
you
course.
just have, yeah, I mean, I did take the time, I
Okay.
mean, I would say that like I've taken the time
It takes
to study
time
and
to
them,
learn them. Mhm.
but I've been doing it so long now that I've developed my own card lingo within my own cards.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
One of the things
yeah.
I used to do, and I still do, though these cards barely have it anymore. I can show you if on some that, because I don't really need it anymore. But I used to write the meaning on the card.
Okay.
I had a friend who would, on the back of the card,
Mhm.
put out what it meant, and or she did it sometimes on the front. But I cut the borders off of my cards. Like these cards don't have borders, but I cut the borders off, so there's no border here. But she would type out the thing and then tape it on there so that it was completely taped on, so it wouldn't come off. And she had the meaning there.
I have this once. Maybe I can use this.
Yeah, you can use the
like
border.
right.
Like this card, for instance, to me, but I also put in my own interpretive thing. Like to me, this card, if I get this card and I'm reading people, sometimes for me, this card means like being in jail. I don't know why it looks like jail cells. It looks like things. So depending on the deck, like you're using wider rate, I can tell. Is that wider rate?
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, so that's a wider rate card. So you will, as you stare at the cards, develop your own interpretation of what they mean. It will be in alignment with the interpretation of what the card and how it was designed, but you might find your own keywords that stimulate your thing. But if I pull this card and I just start looking at it, like I'll pull the card, my eyes go to it. A lot of times I'm like, is that person in jail? Are they in trouble? I mean, I just know. And it tends to be now that I don't really pull this card too much unless they are in jail or really stuck. In jail, like in a mental way, emotional way.
Okay.
But because it's well, this is wand, so this is mental, but generally for me it always means, and also too because the color is orange and orange is fire, and if you're stuck in a fire, that's heavy. So I would pay attention to the colors of your cards. What is the emotion that it invokes? And one of the ways that I would say you would learn your cards is to sit with each one. Now there's 70 of them, but how, depending on how fast you can learn and how fast you can recall. But I would sit with each card and study it specifically based on what you see in the card. Ask you, and I talked about this before, what color is this? Is this a good color? Is it a bright color? Is it a, you know, when you talk about orange being fire, what is fire? You know, and I would write down all the meanings that I interpreted from this card and then start to do it. There, you know, there are shortcuts to learning stuff, but I think initially you have to go through every one of them. You just have to go through, because it's really terrible to put down a bunch
time.
of cards and have to look up everything. So things like, just if, I mean, I don't know, what's your profession?
Oh, I work in a big international organization.
Okay. Do you know what a
So-
mnemonic is? Do you know what a mnemonic is? A mnemonic is something you use in school, like you remember, like for instance, the color spectrum is Roy G. Biv, you know. So it's red, orange, yellow, G, green,
yes.
blue, I, indigo, violet. You could develop something like a mnemonic to remember them. But what I would do is there's certain things that are the same across all the decks. Aces are always new beginnings. 10 is generally completion, but starting something new.
Okay.
Right? 9 is at the end of a cycle, like a tipping point. Just like in 1 through 10, you've got 1. 1 through 9. 9 is the end.
So we can use the numerology for the numbers as well, right? Or not?
Yes.
Not always.
Not 100%, but yes, you can. And it depends on how in depth you want to go into Tarot. I mean, Tarot corresponds to the Tree of Life and into Kabbalah as well. But if, that's a lot of study. That's a lot.
Yes,
a lot
I
of
know.
study.
I know.
To learn those correspondences, I would learn what direction, north, south, east, or west they correspond to. I would learn every card corresponds to a month and a day as well. That's the kind of thing that like you can have a chart for and look up. If you really want to know those things, you can look that up like in the moment. Like sometimes I don't do it now, but I used to have like a chart of stuff that I could refer to, but in the reading, it may or may not be necessary. I would just know that like cups are emotion, wands are, swords are mental.
Action.
Yes, wands are action, and pentacles mean material things.
Yeah.
So I would learn that. So that when you're looking at something, is it major, minor arcana? Is it an archetype or is it a temporary situation? Those are I would look for those big themes and then I'd start breaking them down. And I would do something like, because everything, every suit is a journey, right? The new beginning, the partnership, the stability, then it falls apart and then it gets stronger, or it breaks down, or it completely is destroyed. And I would learn what the story is of each deck, not each deck, but each suit, so that that like you always know ones are new beginnings. You always know 10s are completion. You always, and then you can start to break it down into those smaller parts. And then you can start to really learn the individual cards. Now for like this card, right? This is the 3 of Swords.
3, okay. Not 6.
Oh, sorry, 6 of Swords, sorry, 6.
6,
6
okay.
of Swords. This is the 6 of Swords. For whatever reason, this card to me, because of the way it's got all the lines and all the stuff, to me, this means technology.
It's kind of very concentrated into something.
It's concentrated into a center.
It's a cross.
It's all the lines. And I'm always thinking like fiber optics, technology, computers. So when I get this card, I'll say, is this person in tech? And usually they are. But I don't know why this became this for me, but that's what this is now.
Okay.
I don't know why. And it's things coming from different directions, crossing, being stronger, they're all crossing.
And that aligns for people when you tell them this interpretation?
Yeah, because that's my interpretation.
Yes.
And the cards know how I interpret them.
Yes.
So when I lay them out, the cards, as I recognize them, tell me the story. Does that make sense? That's why you have to know your cards. And because even if this is wrong, if you look it up in a book, for me, when I give someone a reading and I get this card, I'm right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I remember I wrote down last time you said, learn the cards, but then develop your own lingo or what?
You have to get to know them,
So
like they're your
learning.
friends. They're like your friends. You can have 20 friends and you know all about them. You know what they're about. You know how they react in certain situations. So you can just say, like, if you think of the cards of like your friends, and I've never said this before, but this is what I'm getting.
And you can still develop your own perception of this friend, right? Later,
well, if you think
when
about
know
the
them
cards
better.
as your friends, then, and you know how they react in different situations, you know that when this card is put next to this card, which is the abundance card, and this is technology, that would mean that this person does very well in their tech job, or that they have a lot of successes. They create a lot of things. They're part of a very successful situation. But that's just this, and it's a sustainable success because it's just flowing and flowing and flowing. So times are good right now for this person,
Do you use also some astrology? Do you combine it?
That's definitely part of the tarot. Every card has a correspondence to a planet and to a date. I don't do astrology, so I don't tend to interpret astrology.
You don't need it.
Well, I don't need it. I also don't know it, so I just don't even try to even like astrology is its whole other study, and I just don't do it. I mean, I really, I know my own sign, that what I'm, but you've got air cards, so there's got it would be good to know what the signs are for each, each air, wind, whatever. I mean, air, fire, water. It was good to know what the 12 signs are, the zodiac signs, as they correspond. But I mean, it just depends on if you're doing Western astrology or Jyotish astrology, because in Jyotish astrology, where in Western astrology, they interpret everything based on your sun sign. In Jyotish, they do everything based on your rising sign.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's another science.
It's another way of interpreting it. So I don't really do that, but like the Rider-Waite Tarot, the Thoth Tarot, most legitimate tarot is corresponding to astrology and to the tree of life and all of that stuff. So it's good to, if you know that stuff, then it's good to apply. I don't have the time to learn it. So.
It is so deep. Tarot itself is so deep already.
So, but fortunately, you can develop your own interpretation of each card. And if you know, when you look at a card that it means this, then the reading will honor that. That's the thing. Like, people are like, oh, but you got to do it this way so you get the right answer. No, that's not true. You've got to get the answer from the cards, and the cards will give you what you know. Does that make sense?
Yes. I do the reading for myself, and it's amazing every time, but I don't do it for others. Yeah.
What other questions?
Thank you. Thank you, Karen.
Okay.
At the moment, no. So it's a way. So I'll be continuing learning the cards. And
all right, perfect. Well, I think we're the only people that are here now. So you and I are the only ones left. So
what a blessing for me.
What a blessing for me too. So I'm gonna go ahead and end here. Let me just go over to the YouTube chat real quick and see if anybody there has any questions. And if not, we will say good night. But
yes.
Here, a moment, or good day, or good afternoon. Let me get into the right thing. Hello, everyone in the YouTube chat. Sorry to have ignored you, but I was having technical difficulties in the very beginning of the thing here. Let's see.
Win at work by
If
communicating.
you're hearing me, just type your questions in the chat now. Here's Saturday webinar. Okay. All right, here we go. Let me get over there. Hi, everyone. Okay, let me just go up and see if there's a question. Greetings, wait for people to come in, especially Karen. Okay. No, it wasn't solar flares. He met Wally. It was India's electricity. Okay. Okay, Met Wally has a question. Oh, your personality card is the devil. Well, the devil is someone who's has an agenda, who can be manipulative, but you don't have to be that. That might be just, you know, your personality card. I wouldn't take too much about that. I would define your own personality by your life and not by your card. Yeah, I would do. Let me see. Let's see. Oh, and then they're talking about in the chat that every card has a flipped, you can read a card upside down or right side up. I don't tend to read cards turned upside down unless it really like strikes me as it being very poignant to the reading. I kind of take it as it comes. I don't necessarily just get caught up on, is it turned upside down or is it not? And I know that that's not actually right. That's completely like against what other people would say to do, but I just tend to not read them upside down. Because if you say to someone that a card is, are you still here, Gulnar? Stay on screen with me so I could talk to you at least. If you can you come back on screen? If
Yes,
a card
yes.
if a card's turned upside down,
Yeah.
it generally puts fear in someone. And I think like things are scary enough. So I get the fuller meaning from the cards right side up and all the cards surrounding it, just based on how I read, but I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't really read them upside down. I know that's anti everything that every tarot teacher's teaching you.
And if a card falls out from the deck,
card falls out, I use it.
you use it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do believe that if you're shuffling and like
Mhm,
sometimes you pull two cards and you pull like a whole
Exactly.
handful, I think, okay,
Yeah.
you have to read those. Yeah, I do that.
Okay. Mm. Mhm.
Okay. So, well, I would say that Met Wally, he said that his birthday card, because of his birthday, is that card. And I would say, well, you had a 1 in 72 chance of having that card. But everyone has 1 in 72 chance of having every card in the deck. I don't think the devil, it's, I come from the Hermetic school, so I would say that the devil is more of an energy within yourself you need to integrate. And the nature of this devil.
It's
would be
also
maybe-
power, right? Devil is also power.
Yeah, it's also power. So I would say it's about integrating that energy and owning the you know, a demon is something that you need to integrate into yourself. That's why you wrestle with your demons, but you can also integrate them so that they have no negative effects in your life. That's what I would say. So maybe this is your life's challenge. Let's see. Did anyone else have in the YouTube have any questions? Anyone else? I think, let's see if there's even anybody watching today. This is a strange day, I think. Yeah. All right. Well, unless anybody has any questions, we're going to call it a day. Let me see. He says he's a curious sausage. I don't know what that means. Okay. All right. All right. So everyone, I don't see any questions. I'm just waiting for something to. Anything else? Okay. Well, I didn't see any other questions, so I'm going to say to everyone, take care of yourself. I hope you're doing fantastic. Jim will be back next week, and sorry for the cutoff earlier, but that's India's electricity. Always a good challenge there. So much love to you.
Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Have a fantastic night. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next week.